Hi, my name is Marguerite Tonery and I'm the author of the Kapheus Series of children's books, and I'm going to talk about book 2 or read a little bit from book 2. And this is Kapheus Air, the second book in the series, and what I'm holding in my hand is the first book ever printed of Kapheus Air, and it's wrapped up in plastic from the printer. So this is a book that I treasure. I always said that I would, if I ever have children, I would hand it to my first child. But that hasn't happened, so it's still wrapped. So that's Kapheus Air. So I'm not going to open the wrapping because that's the first book that was ever made, ever printed. So I leave that there, and I read from this one. So Kapheus Air, the thing you need to know about Kapheus Air is that I often tell children, and I'm telling you now about Kapheus Air. There's a thing you have to know about dragons. When babies are small, when they're learning how to talk, they say dad, 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 dad. So when baby dragons are learning how to talk, they say boo boo. So do you have it? Boo boo. Yeah? Okay. One more time. Boo boo. So that's what baby dragons say. Okay, so now that you know all about baby dragons, you know about a little baby dragon called Fodla, the little pink dragon, who's the star of the show in Kapheus Air. Kapheus Earth even, Kapheus Air, and it really is the focal point of Kapheus Water, the next book in the series. So this is book 2 and I'm going to talk about it now. So it so happened that on that fateful night a thunderstorm struck, and that thunder cast Eliza and Jamie's consciousness into the exact same dream at precisely the same moment. The wind howled and the lightning struck outside their bedroom windows as they prepared themselves for sleep. Jamie placed his imperial topaz stone in his bedside locker next to his watch and stared out at the lightning, counting the seconds between thunder rolls and lightning strikes. He heard his mother in the hallway, rushed to close the curtains and dived under his bed covers. Eliza placed her fire opal under her pillow and looked out onto the night sky. She stood tall and faced the thunderstorm. She was fearless, yet on close inspection she seemed to be a million miles away in her thoughts. She too heard her mother's footsteps and returned from that distant place to climb under her blankets and drift asleep. And so the scene was set in the perfect order as decreed by destiny. Both siblings were to fall into a dream at precisely the same moment, and to dream an unthinkable dream. "It's coming," Ogma, the black warrior dragon, said to his wife Maeve. "These are the winds of change. It all depends on the children now." He carried his thoughts like a great weight on his powerful shoulders. "Well, no matter what, they did make it to the meadow, and we must be proud of them for that," Maeve said. "That might not be enough." "The world has a funny way of surprising us all. Maybe it will tonight," she said, as she tucked her 2 little dragons, Dara and Fodla, into their beds for the night. "Sleep well, my brave ones." "Boo-boo," said Fodla, the little pink dragon. "Not a sound out of you tonight, Fodla," she said. "Night, ma'am," said Dara, curling up and tucking his long dragon tail around his body. "Boo-boo," said Fodla, smiling up at Maeve. "Shh. There's nothing to be afraid of, Fodla. It's just the wind," she said, affectionately touching Fodla's nose with her talon. Dara was already fast asleep, but Fodla watched as the dragon with the golden scales passed by her and stepped into her nest in the treetop. Maeve lay down next to Ogma and soon fell asleep. The clock kept ticking and time kept moving along. Lightning struck the moment Eliza fell into a dream at precisely the same time as her brother Jamie fell into that very same dream. And in that dream, they both sat on the floor of Eliza's bedroom looking into the drawing. And Jamie said to Eliza, "Do you ever wonder what's the point in Kapheus?" And Eliza said, "What do you mean?" "It hasn't been that long since we were in Kapheus. You're beginning to sound like someone who doesn't want to go back there, Jamie." "Well, you seem to know what you're doing and you get it. I don't know what the big deal is sometimes." "What are you trying to say, Jamie?" "Well, I'm not sure if I really want to go back there again." "Jamie, you know I can't go back there without you. Grandmother Oak said we have to go together. We have to enter Kapheus together and leave together. We can't go on our own." "Well, I don't know. I bet you Ogma doesn't even remember you. And Fodla is probably so grown up now that she can't remember the time she climbed on my back." "But Jamie, I can't go back there without you. What about the dragons, the elves, Jeremiah? What about even the leprechauns?" So? But you're the leader of the dragons. Does that not mean anything to you? It does, but Kapheus doesn't really exist. It's just a dream. It's like, it's only in her imagination, Eliza. Jamie? But what about the Wood of Allurement? You love that place, Jamie. No, I didn't. But Jamie, they need us. They only have us and we only have them. Jeremiah didn't teach us everything he knew about the earth in order for us to forget it. Do you remember the Archway of Judgment? They only have us, Jamie, and we only have them. You were supposed to bring hope to the dragons, Jamie. You're hopeless. Well, Jamie. Eliza reached out to her brother in desperation, but Jamie didn't seem to listen. Jamie stood up and began to walk away. When this happened, inside the drawing, at the very edge of the drawing, he heard something. You must return. You must return. Tick tock goes the clock. Tick tock. You must return to Kapheus, children of the light. All hope lives or dies with you. Ah, tick tock goes the clock. Tick tock. Lug, is that you? Jamie, be careful. Lug, the elf who had betrayed his people by leaving the woods of Kapheus to become the Dark One's informer and slave, huddled at the edge of the drawing. He rocked over and back, trapped in the darkness of his mind. He cradled his head in his hands and blocked his ears from the ticking sound of that clock. Tick tock goes the clock. Tick tock, he screeched. He stared at Jamie, and Jamie shuffled backwards along the bedroom floor. Lug then huddled down on the ground, rocking over and back and moaning in despair. What do you want, Lug? Jamie asked. You must return. You are the children of the light. All hope lives or dies with you. Why do you care, Lug? You betrayed all the elves and the woodland. What do you want from us? I want nothing from you. Ah! Tick tock goes the clock. Tick tock. Lug screeched as the piercing pain of that clock's sound tore through his pointed elf ears and deep into his mind. Lug's mind was so tormented at that moment that no words from the children of the light could soothe it. He despaired. Joachim, the black wolf, stood in front of Eliza and looked into the drawing. Be still, Lug, be still, he said in a deep, soothing voice. Time kept moving along, and sometimes elves even drifted it. Lug had succumbed to the Dark One's will, and so time had not been good to him. Those eyes that stared into Jamie's soul had blackened even further by the darkness, and the last remaining light that rested deep inside his heart was merely a flicker since last the children crossed paths with him. The darkness did not love him, but instead it controlled his every movement and tortured his every waking moment. He was tormented by the sound of the Dark One's clock in his mind, and he was so consumed by it that he could not eat and could not sleep. The open sores on his body wept the tears he could no longer cry. The poor elf was only a shadow of the elf he was in a few short months since Eliza and Jamie had last seen him. Come with me, I will show you, he said, reaching his hand from the drawing and into Eliza's bedroom. Will we go? Jamie asked Eliza, holding out his hand to her. No, we can't follow him. Jamie grabbed hold of Eliza's hand and pulled her with him into Kapheus. Jamie, what are you doing? asked Eliza, but it was too late. They had entered Kapheus. Where are we? Jamie asked. This is not the meadow, Lug. No, this is Cormac's cave, said Lug, squirming as he spoke, as if afraid he would be struck for having brought the children to the cave. But there was no one there to strike him. He was alone in the darkness with the children. Cormac's cave? Are you serious? Are you trying to get us killed? Jamie asked, scanning his surroundings for danger. Oh, what a wicked web we weave when first we practice to deceive, Lug said. My mam always says that, Jamie responded in astonishment. Your mother would know, Lug replied, with a satisfied look on his face. What's that supposed to mean? Jamie asked, pulling the neck of Lug's vest. Nothing, Lug cowered. This is what happens, Jamie, when you mess with darkness. Lug was always going to get us into trouble. Why don't you think first before you do things? Eliza had her hand on her forehead, trying to think of her way out of trouble. I didn't mean to, said Jamie, dipping his head. What are we going to do here, Lug? Why did you bring us here? Eliza asked. Set me free. I don't know how. What do you want us to set you free from? Eliza asked. Doom. I don't know how, said Eliza. Find my brother, Eliza. He can feel your heartbeat, said Lug, touching her arm. Feel? But I don't know how to get to him. I could ask Grandmother Oak, said Eliza. No, not Grandmother Oak, said Lug, withdrawing his arm quickly. Lug became tormented and placed his hands on his head in despair. He walked around in a daze, speaking to himself. Chirgan Changa, Chirgan Anon, Shinadur Shilom, Shinadur Shilom. What did Grandmother Oak say to you, Lug? Eliza said softly. Lug stared into Eliza's eyes and she saw the inner mind of the elf. Then suddenly, Eliza heard the howling sound of a wolf in the distance. That's Joachim. How do we get out of here? Jamie asked Lug, but he was gone. We need to get out of here. You can't. It's too late, Lug said from the shadows. The children heard the sound of something or someone approaching. Let's get out of here, said Jamie, rushing to the entrance. No, Jamie, Eliza called and quickly pulled him towards the back wall of the cave. They hid crouched down against it. Joachim howled again. That fool of a wolf, he goes everywhere that child goes in her world. Has he nothing better to do with his time? He makes my life a misery, said the Dark One, entering Cormac's cave. The Dark One then saw Lug. What are you doing here, elf? Waiting for you, master. What do you want? Have you any news of Kapheus? No, master. Well, which is it? Do you have no news or no news? Out with it. Eliza and Jamie cowered against the wall of the cave. When can we deliver the joy back to the children? When can we get them back, give them back their light? This place is full of jars. It is time to return the contents to their owners, master. They will never be returned, the Dark One shouted angrily. But the children of the prophecy, they have not returned to Kapheus, and the drawing grows still. Is there any point in suffering any more? Lug asked. Do you think I care about Eliza and Jamie? You fool. They are so weak. What is the point of children reaching the meadow if they then give up? I would not have bothered with them in the first place if I had known that. But they are the children of the prophecy, master. They are weak and worthless. Jamie grew angry and began to shuffle. Ha! They just gave up. By the time that clock strikes the hour and no child or any worthless creature has passed through that drawing, the world of the imagination will no longer be visible to the children, the Dark One said, pointing to the clock on the ground. That fool of a boy can't even see the dragons anymore. The child who himself is of the dragon bloodline. Eliza grabbed hold of Jamie's arm to hold him back. All hope lives or dies with those children, Lug said. Hope? Don't talk of foolish things. They are trapped. The clock is ticking, and in 15 minutes no child or creature will be able to pass through the drawing. You have to read on to find out what happens. This is Kapheus Air, and Kapheus Air is the second book in the series, and Kapheus Air can be purchased at kapheus.com, Kapheus.com. Thank you for listening.